Hey guys, Daley Tech here, and I'm really excited to tell you guys that I've tested out the PS Navi controllers, and they are awesome in VR. Having the thumbstick and the extra grip button on the controller just makes everything feel way more natural. It makes the gameplay so much smoother. So what are we waiting for? Let's get playing! Alright, you know what? That's not going to work so good. We're going to have to figure out what to do about that. Now, I have seen a ton of different ideas on how to make your own clip for these things, but I kind of want to make something that's really custom for myself and try to do something new. So let's see what we got around the house and what we can do to make this work. So if you guys have been following any of my Riftcat giveaway videos, you probably saw me teasing that I was starting to make a clip already. And it turns out I was. Now my biggest goal of this project was to try to build a clip that was going to work really well, feel really good, and do it for as cheap as possible or free if I could. Now I remember seeing a video before of a guy named Thompson who's the king of random. You might have seen him a few times, and he made his own rubber and he called it Proto Putty. So I took that idea and put my own little spin on it so I can make my own PS Navi clip with it. And I have to say it turned out pretty awesome. So without further ado, I give you the custom PS Navi clip. And I know exactly what you're thinking. That looks like crap. But you know what? It cost me almost nothing to make. It works really well and is really comfortable. I'll give you a bit of a closer look at it here. All it is really this custom-made rubber, and these two controllers just snap right in. So as you can see, they just come right apart. And I can pop it right back in there. Perfect. And it'll hold it in place. And same thing with the Navi controller. That just pops right out and goes in as well. So, and then that's it. Give myself a nice finger hole here and then molded it so it fits my hand just perfectly. Now yes, it does look a little ridiculous. It is a little bit heavy, but this is the first one that I ever made. But you know what? The results are pretty good. Everything holds on pretty well. Now the only thing I didn't do on this one is I didn't put a strap around it. And you know what? It holds great too. Now before I get to the build video, I am going to warn you, I set my camera to the wrong setting. It doesn't look very good at all, but at least you're going to get a good enough idea on how the build was done. But anyways, let's get going on that build. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the stuff you need. First thing we're going to need is some silicone. Now that's 100% silicone, however it comes, you'll be fine. As Thompson suggests, is silicone 1. Secondly, we're going to need a normal wire coat hanger. Then, we're going to need some food coloring. Now I just happen to have some industrial grade bulk blue stuff, but just the little bottles work fine too. Then lastly, all we need is some cornstarch. So to start things off, just grab your coat hanger, and we're going to have to cut this thing into a bunch of pieces. So grab a pair of pliers with some sort of a wire cutter on it. And start at one end of the coat hanger and just clip the end off. And once you have that clipped, you're going to want to measure down about 3.5 inches roughly, and then make another cut to cut a piece off. Once you have that cut 3 more because you're going to need 4 pieces in total. So now that you got those 4 pieces cut, we're going to need to cut 4 more pieces, and these ones are going to be about 1.5 inches in length. Go ahead and cut all those out now too. Lastly, got to cut 4 more, and those ones need to be about 1 inch in length. Now that we got all the pieces cut, grab the 3.5 inch pieces and with 2 pairs of pliers, just start bending it into a round shape like this. When bending it, just check every once in a while to make sure it fits around the controller with a little bit of space around the gaps. So once you've made that bend on all 4 of the long pieces, we're going to need to start gluing these pieces together. So to join the 2 ends together, we're going to use the pieces that are about 1.5 inches in length to go in between the 2 different hooked pieces. So just glue them together like this. Now once you've glued these pieces together to look just like that, do it again with the remaining pieces. So now that those 2 halves are made, we need to glue them together with the 1 inch pieces. All you need to do is put one of the pieces at each corner of that rectangle that's in the middle of that bracket. Once it's all set on one side, put the bracket down on the table and then we'll put the second half on top of it, and then glue those corners down too. While doing this, try to make sure that your loops are lining up on either side as best you can. Now, because we are using our own rubber, there is a little bit of room for error, so that don't worry about if it's not perfect. Now here's what it should look like when you're done making the frame. Once the glue is dried, pick it up, make sure your finger fits through the middle. If it doesn't fit or doesn't have quite enough play, you can always heat the glue up a little bit and then just space it out a little bit more. So now that the wireframe is all done, you can put that off to the side and you'll need to grab yourself some paper towel and 2 bowls. I put the paper towel under the bowl so that if I splashed any of the food coloring, it wouldn't stain the table. Now put a decent amount of cornstarch into one of the bowls, then in the second one put a decent amount of food coloring in it. I used blue, but whatever color that floats your boat will work just fine. Now give at least 1 full pump or so of silicone into the bowl and mix it up with the food coloring with the popsicle stick. Once it's nicely mixed up, move the colored silicone into a bowl of cornstarch. At this point, it'll feel pretty runny and loose, but that'll firm up after a bit of work. Now this next part took a little bit of time. All you need to do is just keep working the cornstarch into the silicone until it becomes a nice putty. You'll need to just keep folding it over and over again until it doesn't feel sticky anymore. For the first while, I highly recommend using the popsicle stick because it will be pretty sticky. But you'll notice when you can pick it up with your hands and you won't get too much on it. Just make sure you keep a decent amount of cornstarch on your fingers while moving it around. Now after a bit of time of working the cornstarch into it, you'll see it start to shape up like this. It'll be pretty workable and hold its shape really well. Just make sure you keep patting more and more cornstarch on it whenever it starts to feel sticky. Once you have the putty into a consistency that you're going to like, move the bowls out of the way, and this way we can start putting it onto the wire frame. Now I found the easiest way to do this is to roll up little pieces of it and then flatten them out. And then this way you can put them around the angled pieces on the bracket. Make sure you leave enough meat on there so that way when you press the controller on, it'll mold to it just perfectly. Once you've done those 4 sides, then we can just start filling in the rest of the frame with more putty to hide it. This is also going to provide a little bit of strength too. Now I'll just let you watch this through and fast forward, but however you decide to do this is up to you. So now that you've got everything covered, first grab your Navi controller, then press it into one of the sides when it's straight. Make sure that you make a good seal right around it. Also, make sure you got none of the jagged ends poking out of the putty. Then, we'll grab the move controller and press it onto the other side. Again, make sure everything's nice and sealed and fitting tightly. Once you smoothed out some of the bumps and made sure that everything's covered up just fine, pick the controller up and then hold it as you normally would. Then I'd give it a little bit of squeeze so that way it form fits all your fingers. This is what's going to provide the most comfort at the end. Once it's finished, give it one good last look over, and once you're satisfied with how everything looks, we'll put it off to the side and then let it cure for a while. I let mine go for about 24 hours, but it should cure far before that. So here we are about 24 hours later. I haven't touched this controller since I've done the build, so that you guys can see it coming apart for the first time. Now it'll stick a little bit, but it's really nothing to worry about. But anyways, here's how that build turned out, right here. Now one thing I didn't include in the build, because I thought about it after I was done filming, was to add this Velcro strap right here. Now what I did was I actually embedded it right into the rubber. So that way I will never lose the strap. It'll just stay there and ready to attach the controller to it. So let's pull this thing apart and make sure it goes back together alright. So I'm going to undo the Velcro strap. That's going to be fancy. And then what you might have to do is you might have to just break some of these edges free for it. There. And there, the controller pops right out. And actually, that looks like it's pretty good. It's holding in there alright. And notice too, the strap is stuck there now and it's not going anywhere. Let's just bust this one free. Alright. Perfect. It's all good. So let's just make sure it snaps back in. That actually fits really nice. And then this one. Alright. Yeah, those fit pretty good. They seat alright in there. Then all you have to do is just take your strap, strap it in there, and you're ready to get gaming. Now there is one stupid mistake that I made that I'm going to give you a warning not to do it too, is that if you're not making them both at the same time, keep in mind that if you make your right hand the first time, don't make a second right hand, because that's exactly what I did. Now I got really lucky because when I do put it into the other hand, it still fits pretty comfortably, but I would have much preferred it if I actually molded it to this position. But either way, job's done. We got it done for virtually nothing, and chances are you already have all this stuff laying around your house right now as it is. So hopefully your build goes just as smoothly or better than mine did, because I would love to hear what you guys come up with and how you can make this thing even better. Now as an added bonus, if you do happen to have a 3D printer, I've put a link for the 3D printed clip down in the description below. Now this was just created by a fellow user of the PS Move service, and full credit goes out to him for it. So anyways, now that the thing's built, the only thing we have to do now is get the Navi controller installed. I'll be creating a setup guide for that shortly, so if you are subscribed to my channel already, make sure you click that notification bell so that way when I do release it, you can be the first to see it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, then what are you waiting for? So thanks a lot for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to throw it a thumbs up, and I'll be sure to make sure content like this keeps rolling out. Take care, and we'll see you next time.